Another day, another Trump cabinet disaster. This time, Pete Hegseth, the United States Secretary of Defense, the highest position in the U.S. military except for the president, accidentally emailed a reporter the war plans for an upcoming strike on Houthi targets just hours before the strike was to commence. And so, of course, Democrats responded tonight by sharply criticizing Pete Hegseth and Donald Trump, like Pete Buttigieg did on CNN.
President Trump, as you saw earlier, was saying he wasn't aware of this report. We're since told he's been briefed on it, but he reposted something that Elon Musk wrote earlier, kind of mocking all of this by making fun of The Atlantic. He wrote, "Best place to hide a dead body is page 2 of The Atlantic magazine because no one ever goes there." Trump reposted that earlier. Do you see that as making light of what has happened here?
Yeah, because this is all a game to them. You know, nobody in Donald Trump's family is on a ship in the Mediterranean. Nobody in Elon Musk's family is at risk from the kinds of economic or security harms that are going on here. They think all of this is a joke or a game because these are incredibly rich, powerful men who, frankly, don't have to worry about the kinds of things most Americans do. And look, this is part of a bigger pattern, right? The sloppiness and the incompetence, whether it's firing the people who were in charge of keeping our nuclear weapons safe, apparently by accident, and then scrambling to hire them back on, whether it's sending an email to try to buy out air traffic controllers in the middle of an air traffic control shortage, and then scrambling after a plane crash to say, oh, that never applied to them, whether it's that Doge site, their so-called wall of receipts, thinking that they were proving that they saved the taxpayer $8 billion with a B, not realizing that the contract they were talking about was $8 million with an M, which means they were off by 100,000%. And now this incredibly grave and serious matter of taking classified information about American battle plans involving American troops and randomly sending those battle plans to the wrong guy. If they don't understand the seriousness of that, then they don't understand how their jobs affect the lives of ordinary American people. And as an American, having the most powerful people in your country not take their responsibilities seriously can be lethal.
Now, the main reason Pete Hegseth isn't going to face any consequences here is because the game that Trump and Hegseth are playing is the game of I lie for you, you lie for me. Let's scratch each other's backs in a way. Remember, Pete Hegseth was a drunk Fox News host who got the position of Secretary of Defense because he lied for Donald Trump, because he spread the big lie about the 2020 election. So Trump gave him the defense secretary position because he's one of the biggest bootlickers for Donald Trump. Now, later in the interview, Pete Buttigieg was asked whether anyone should be fired, and his answer got me thinking.
Do you think someone should be fired over this?
Absolutely. I mean, if I made a mistake like this as a lieutenant, I would be probably not just fired, but probably indicted and tried and maybe in prison. And the idea that, you remember, these guys love talking about merit, right? We hear a lot about this alleged principle that they're hiring people on merit. I think, there's some questions there. I mean, our current Secretary of Defense hadn't shown a lot of evidence of, running a large organization, or let alone running a large organization well. And he got put in charge of the largest organization in the United States of America and the most important organization in the world, which is the U.S. Department of Defense. And if there's not accountability for a screw up like this, especially from a president who used to fire people every day on television for sport, what are we even doing here?
Of course, the idea that Donald Trump's cabinet is merit-based is a complete joke. Like I talked about, Pete Hegseth was a drunk on Fox News. All he did was lie for Donald Trump. But it goes back to Republicans and, Trump and his cabinet just kind of having that mindset of rules for thee, but not for me, right? Buttigieg talked about how if he were a lieutenant, he would be not only be fired, but he would also be indicted. And so what message does this send to the young men and women who are risking their lives around the world and who are held to the utmost standard of privacy and secrecy when it comes to classified documents? What are they thinking when they see Pete Hegseth do this and then get away with it? Now, Pete Buttigieg was also asked about the seriousness of this crime, and it got me thinking about Hillary Clinton and Fox News' coverage of it.
Yeah, the whole point of classified information systems is to keep classified information on them. And by the way, I don't know everything about how Pete Hegseth's computers work, but I know this. In my experience, both in the cabinet and as an intelligence officer, you would have to go out of your way to take classified information and move it into an unclassified system. I don't know if a lot of folks understand how this works, but it's not like there's a computer where you might get an unclassified email and a classified email in the same inbox. They're not even the same computers. By design, it is very difficult for information to move from one system to the other.
Buttigieg says there that he took the documents off a computer and moved them to another one. Like, Hegseth knew what he was doing when he physically had to move these files. And so if you're Sean Hannity and you're Fox News, you would dedicate a whole decade to this. If the Secretary of Defense was a Democrat or in a Democratic administration. So let's check in on Sean Hannity and Fox News.
Instead, they are obsessed with an accidentally leaked text, a chain from Trump cabinet officials who are debating the merits of military strikes in Yemen. So the very people that covered up their president's severe cognitive decline, lied about wide open borders, both of which are clear and present dangers to our country, now want you to believe that they actually give a damn and care about national security. More feigned, phony outrage. This is now the scandal of the week that you will see nonstop, 24/7, that nobody will care about. Now, by the way, it's not only a smear, but it's waged by the left. That's all they've got, and their bingo cards.
Oh, would you look at that? Sean Hannity just doesn't care. It's all just a Democratic ploy against them and not a major disaster. Oh, okay. Now, it's interesting because Pete Hegseth also responded to the controversy today, and wouldn't you know it, he sounded a lot like Sean Hannity.
Can you share how your information about war plans against the Houthis in Yemen was shared with a journalist in The Atlantic? And were those details classified?
You're talking about a deceitful and highly discredited so-called journalist who's made a profession of peddling hoaxes time and time again, to include the hoaxes of Russia, or the fine people on both sides hoax, or suckers and losers hoax. So this is the guy that peddles in garbage. This is what he does.
So there you go. Fox News, Pete Hegseth, the Trump administration, essentially working hand in hand to write the talking points in response to serious blunders like this. People watching Fox News, you gotta wake up, folks. Come on. It's time to wake up and change things for the better. Let me know what your reflections are down in the comments below, what you think of Pete Hegseth sending war plans on accident to a reporter, something we were all terrified he would do because he is incredibly unqualified for the position. And now it's done, it's happened, and it'll probably happen again. Share your reflections down in the comments below, and be sure to subscribe to Reflect Politics so that you get my future videos delivered straight to you. My name is Brendan Plank. Thanks for watching. Hope to see you in the next video.